Every morning, the world is silent. Even the air feels heavier, pregnant with the potential of what is to come. Yet most people wake as if in a storm, tossed about by notifications, obligations, and inner chatter. The Stoics understood that the first moments of the day are a battlefield, one that determines whether a person will act with purpose or be swept by circumstance. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in his Meditations about waking before dawn to reflect on the challenges awaiting him, to steel his mind for the weight of ruling an empire. Epictetus, born a slave, rose each morning to prepare his mind for freedom, knowing that physical chains could not bind mental discipline. These mornings were not leisurely or comfortable. They were acts of sovereignty over self. They were not guided by desire or motivation, but by deliberate action, grounded in wisdom and purpose. Each sunrise represented a new chance to practice control, focus, and mastery, the same principles that can transform your modern mornings into powerful engines of achievement. Modern life offers endless distractions, the phone buzzing before you open your eyes, the pull of social media, the constant obligations clamoring for attention. The human mind is wired to resist challenge, to linger in comfort, and to defer action. Yet it is precisely through rising before the mind negotiates with excuses that you claim mastery. Even 10 minutes of deliberate, conscious practice before the world asserts itself can shift the trajectory of your entire day. Tomorrow, set an alarm 30 to 60 minutes earlier than usual. Before checking your phone or speaking to anyone, sit in silence. Observe your thoughts. Write a short journal entry about one goal, intention, or value you will prioritize today. Notice how these minutes create focus, calm, and readiness. How often do you allow the distractions of the day to dictate your focus before you have even begun? What could change if your mornings were guided by intention, clarity, and deliberate action instead? If you want to cultivate unstoppable mornings, sharpen your mind, and master your day before it begins, subscribe to the channel now. These lessons are the foundation for building a life of discipline, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. 1. The power of beginning before you feel ready. Every morning, your mind offers a subtle, insidious temptation. Not yet. Rest a little longer. Wait until you feel ready. Most people obey this whisper, hitting snooze, lingering in bed, or scrolling through distractions. But the Stoics knew that the first battle of the day is the battle against hesitation. Strength does not wait for readiness. It is forged in the act of starting before you feel prepared. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, understood this better than most. Each dawn he woke to the weight of an empire, a world filled with rebellion, illness, and intrigue. Yet he began each morning with reflection and intentional action, knowing that clarity of mind precedes clarity of rule. Similarly, Epictetus, confined by the chains of slavery, rose each day to assert mastery over his mind, refusing to let circumstance dictate his inner state. Their mornings were not about comfort, they were exercises in sovereignty over self. By starting before you feel ready, you declare that discipline governs your life, not emotion or convenience. In modern life, the principle is just as relevant. The temptation to linger in bed, check your phone, or delay the most important tasks is universal. Yet the simple act of starting, making your bed, journaling, meditating, or exercising, before your mind negotiates with excuses sets a tone of momentum and control. Motivation often follows action, not the other way around. Energy arises from decisive action, and confidence grows from small victories initiated before you feel ready. Tomorrow, wake 30 to 60 minutes before your usual time. Begin with one deliberate action, make your bed, write down a morning intention, or complete a short workout. Notice how the act of starting before readiness creates momentum for the entire day. How many mornings have you lost to hesitation, waiting for readiness that never comes? What might you achieve if you started decisively, regardless of comfort or doubt? Consider the story of Seneca, who urged, begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Even a simple decision to start can echo across every action that follows, creating compounding effects of clarity, discipline, and inner power. Imagine arriving at work or facing your personal challenges fully awake, fully intentional, having already completed a meaningful action before the majority of the world has even opened their eyes. The advantage compounds, not just in productivity, but in mental resilience, focus, and a quiet confidence that others cannot match. Picture the early morning sun spilling across a quiet city. You stand, fully alert, having begun your day before hesitation had a chance to take hold. The streets are silent, the air crisp, the mind uncluttered. Every thought, every action, every choice begins with clarity and intention. This is the power of starting before readiness. If this insight inspires you to seize control of your mornings and harness unstoppable energy, subscribe now to access more Stoic secrets that sharpen the mind and transform your life. 2. Embrace the hardest task first. The human mind craves ease. It instinctively gravitates toward the comfortable, the familiar, and the convenient. Most mornings are wasted in minor distractions, low-priority tasks, and trivial activities that provide a false sense of accomplishment. The Stoics, however, knew that real strength, clarity, and unstoppable momentum are forged by confronting what is most difficult first. The task you resist, the challenge that feels heavy, the responsibility you secretly fear. This is where mastery begins. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of confronting difficulty head-on. As emperor, he faced insurrections, political treachery, and the relentless demands of leadership. Yet he began each day by reviewing his responsibilities and choosing to tackle the most pressing and challenging tasks first. Epictetus, born a slave and confined physically, trained his mind to act decisively in the face of adversity. Even when the world was unfair, even when obstacles seemed insurmountable, he confronted what was hardest first, teaching himself that discipline overcomes resistance. Their mornings were exercises in resilience, courage, and deliberate action. In modern life, embracing the hardest task first translates into practical strategies that elevate productivity and mental clarity. Instead of checking emails or social media, address the most important, demanding, or uncomfortable task at the start of your day. This could be delivering a difficult presentation, initiating a challenging conversation, tackling a complex project, or confronting a personal fear. Completing the hardest task first relieves mental burden, builds confidence, and accelerates momentum for every subsequent action. Tomorrow morning, identify the task you are most inclined to avoid. Commit to completing it before anything else. Notice how the sense of relief, focus, and accomplishment creates a cascade of productivity and mental sharpness throughout your day. How often do you postpone what is difficult, only to carry anxiety and distraction into the rest of your day? What would change if you consistently confronted the hardest task first? Seneca wrote that a life without difficulty is a life without virtue. The Stoics understood that challenge is not to be feared but harnessed. By choosing the most demanding task first, you turn resistance into strength, fear into action, and hesitation into momentum. Imagine arriving at work or engaging in personal projects with the weight of the most difficult responsibility already lifted from your mind. Every decision becomes sharper. Every interaction becomes intentional. Your energy no longer dissipates on avoidance, but is concentrated on mastery, clarity, and forward movement. Picture the morning sun breaking over a quiet city. While others linger in comfort, you have already faced your challenge. The weight that once loomed now lies behind you. Your mind is alert, your focus precise, and your body aligned with action. This is the Stoic advantage, the momentum of confronting difficulty before hesitation can take hold. If this lesson empowers you to act decisively, master your mornings, and cultivate unstoppable energy, subscribing to this channel ensures you continue learning Stoic secrets that sharpen your mind and transform your life. 3. Detach from yesterday completely. Most people carry the weight of yesterday into the morning. They replay mistakes, relive conversations, or dwell on failures. They wake burdened, emotionally depleted, and mentally scattered, long before the day has begun. The Stoics understood that mental freedom comes from releasing the past entirely. Each sunrise is an opportunity for renewal, a chance to act with clarity, purpose, and discipline. Yesterday cannot be changed, but today is yours to shape. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that the past is gone, and only the present moment is within his control. Even as emperor, facing the chaos of politics, rebellion, and war, he disciplined his mind to detach from what had already occurred. Epictetus, in chains yet unbound in thought, practiced the same principle, knowing that mental captivity is far more dangerous than physical. By detaching from yesterday, they freed their minds to act decisively and with clarity each day. Modern life intensifies the challenge of detachment. Social media amplifies past regrets and mistakes. Work emails remind you of failures or missed opportunities. Personal relationships replay yesterday's conflicts in your mind. To rise above this, the Stoic morning begins with conscious release. Recognize yesterday's events, acknowledge lessons learned, and then intentionally let them go. This creates mental space, emotional resilience, and clarity of focus for the day ahead. Spend 5 minutes each morning reflecting on yesterday. Acknowledge mistakes or regrets without judgment. Write down one lesson, and then mentally release it. Begin today with a clean slate, unburdened by the past. Observe how this practice improves focus, energy, and emotional stability. How often does the weight of yesterday influence your decisions, reactions, and emotions today? What could you accomplish if every morning began completely free, fully present, and fully in control? Seneca warned against clinging to the past, stating, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Detachment is not forgetfulness, it is mastery." It allows the mind to act freely, to respond intentionally, and to remain unshaken by what cannot be changed. Imagine starting your workday or personal projects without the baggage of past mistakes or anxieties. Every decision becomes sharper, your energy more directed, your focus clearer. You move through the day unburdened, unstoppable, and fully present. Visualize a sunrise breaking through a quiet city. While others carry yesterday's weight into the day, you stand light, focused, and intentional. Your mind is a clear lake, reflecting your goals, your intentions, and your capacity for disciplined action. This is the power of detachment, the Stoic way to begin each day unshakable, alert, and free. If detaching from the past empowers your mornings and strengthens your mind, subscribe to the channel to continue receiving Stoic strategies that build focus, resilience, and unstoppable mental strength. 4. Guard your first thoughts of the day. The first thoughts that enter your mind in the morning are more powerful than most people realize. They set the tone for the entire day, shaping focus, energy, and emotional response. Most people allow their minds to be hijacked immediately by notifications, worries, or random thoughts, and their day begins in reaction rather than intention. The Stoics recognize that the early mind is sacred terrain. Whoever controls the first thoughts controls the trajectory of the day. Marcus Aurelius advised constant vigilance over one's thoughts, reminding himself that external events cannot harm the mind unless it allows them to. Epictetus emphasized the discipline of judgment. The first moments upon waking are crucial to framing perception. By consciously choosing which thoughts to nurture and which to discard, the Stoics built a mental shield that no external circumstance could penetrate. In modern life, guarding your first thoughts might mean resisting the urge to check your phone immediately, practicing mindful reflection, or repeating deliberate affirmations. It is the practice of pausing before action, observing what arises in your mind, and choosing which ideas to cultivate. By doing so, you prevent distraction, anxiety, and reactive patterns from dictating your energy. A morning structured around intentional thought becomes a foundation for clarity, focus, and unstoppable momentum. Tomorrow morning, before touching your phone or engaging with external stimuli, sit in quiet reflection for 5 minutes. Observe your thoughts. Note which are productive and which are reactive. Choose a guiding intention or affirmation to focus on for the day. How often does your day begin under the influence of distraction or stress? How would consciously guiding your first thoughts transform your clarity, decision-making, and emotional state? The Stoics understood that unchecked thoughts lead to unchecked actions. Guarding the dawn of the mind ensures that the rest of the day flows from intentional choice rather than reaction. Picture a morning where, before the world reaches you, you've already chosen your mindset. Every email, meeting, or challenge is met with calm, deliberate action. Your mind remains anchored, your energy focused, and your choices precise. Imagine the city awakening around you. The sun rises, cars begin their hum, yet your mind remains still, alert, and intentional, unshaken by the chaos outside. You step into the day with calm authority, having shaped your mental landscape before anyone else arrived. This is the Stoic advantage, mental mastery before the world asserts itself. If this practice strengthens your mornings and empowers your mind, subscribe now to receive more Stoic strategies that sharpen focus, enhance discipline, and build unstoppable energy. 5. Practice morning stillness before the world awakens. Before the world stirs, before notifications, obligations, and noise demand your attention, there is a brief, sacred window of silence. The Stoics regarded this quiet as a foundation for mental strength, a time to prepare the mind before the chaos of life arrived. Morning stillness is not idleness. It is deliberate training. It is armor for your mind, sharpening focus, fortifying emotional resilience, and cultivating clarity. Marcus Aurelius often began his mornings in reflection, journaling or meditating before the world called upon him. In these moments, he anticipated the day's challenges, rehearsed responses to adversity, and reinforced his commitment to virtue. Epictetus, despite his physical limitations, practiced quiet reflection to exercise freedom over judgment and desire. Their mornings were purposeful, not passive, showing that stillness is a form of action, the deliberate preparation of the mind. In modern life, morning stillness can take many forms: meditation, mindful breathing, journaling, or simply observing the sunrise. Even 10 minutes of intentional quiet can cultivate patience, perspective, and a centered mind. This practice trains you to respond rather than react, to act from clarity rather than impulse, and to maintain focus under pressure. By starting each day anchored in stillness, you build resilience against distractions, stress, and emotional turbulence. Dedicate 10 minutes each morning to quiet reflection. Sit comfortably, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment. Write insights, intentions, or priorities in a journal. Reflect on how these minutes of stillness influence your decision-making, focus, and emotional state throughout the day. How often does the noise of the world reach you before you have had a chance to center yourself? How would cultivating consistent morning stillness change the way you approach challenges and opportunities? Seneca urged that time devoted to reflection is never wasted, for the mind that is anchored in quiet can face chaos with calm authority. Morning stillness is the crucible in which focus, discipline, and mental resilience are forged. Imagine starting your workday or personal projects grounded in calm and clarity. Decisions become deliberate, reactions measured, and energy focused. You remain unaffected by the external chaos, moving through the day with precision, confidence, and intentionality. Picture a city still in darkness, the sun barely brushing the horizon. While the world sleeps, you sit in quiet reflection. Your mind is clear, your heart steady, your intentions deliberate. The day has not yet begun, yet you have already claimed control. The advantage lies in stillness, a calm that prepares you to act with unstoppable focus, discipline, and presence. If morning stillness strengthens your mind and empowers your focus, subscribe to the channel to continue accessing Stoic strategies that cultivate unstoppable energy, clarity, and resilience every day. Your mornings define more than your day. They shape your life. How you begin sets the tone for every thought, every decision, and every action that follows. By rising before excuses, confronting the hardest tasks first, detaching from yesterday, guarding your first thoughts, and embracing morning stillness, you forge a mind that is disciplined, clear, and unstoppable. These Stoic practices, simple in concept but profound in effect, compound over time, shaping a life of focus, calm, and deliberate action. Consider Marcus Aurelius, who ruled a vast empire while maintaining inner serenity, Epictetus, who achieved freedom of mind despite physical chains, and Seneca, who cultivated resilience even in exile. Each of them understood that mastery begins before the day demands it, in the quiet, intentional moments of the morning. Their discipline was a shield, their clarity a weapon, and their mornings the foundation of an unshakable mind. Transformation does not come from fleeting motivation, it comes from ritual, consistency, and deliberate action. Each morning, the small choices you make, rising early, facing challenges, releasing the past, guiding your thoughts, and embracing stillness, compound into unstoppable mental strength. When you act with intentionality, clarity, and calm, chaos cannot sway you, distraction cannot control you, and doubt cannot weaken you. For the next 7 days, implement these 5 Stoic practices. Track your focus, energy, and decision-making. Journal each morning and evening on how these habits affect your mental state and daily outcomes. Observe the transformative power of consistent, intentional mornings. How would your life change if every morning began with discipline, clarity, and purpose? What could you achieve if your first actions were deliberate, your mind unburdened, and your energy unstoppable? Picture the sun rising over a quiet city. You stand calm, alert, and centered, having already claimed control of your mind before the world stirred. Every step, thought, and choice is guided by clarity and purpose. This is the Stoic advantage, a life not led by circumstance, but by mastery of self. If you are ready to transform your mornings into a launchpad for mental clarity, resilience, and unstoppable action, subscribe now to this channel. Join a community committed to Stoic wisdom, disciplined living, and deliberate mastery of every day. Begin your mornings with power and watch your life evolve from ordinary to extraordinary.